Joining us tonight for the interview is Debra Johnson. She's the Denver County Clerk and Recorder. Ms. Johnson is currently being sued by Colorado Secretary of State for planning to mail ballots to every voter in Denver whose address still seems valid, regardless of whether they voted in 2010 or since. She wants every voter to get a ballot. Ms. Johnson, thank you very much for your time. It's nice to have you here.
Thank you, Rachel.
I understand that this is your first election as Denver County Clerk, and here you are getting sued by the state. Are you having fun yet in your new job?
Yes, I'm having a great time. Thank you.
I know you set out to mail everyone in Denver a ballot for the November election. The Secretary of State ordered you to not send ballots to voters who missed the November election and who haven't voted since. You have said that sending those voters ballots to is a fundamental issue of fairness. Why do you see it that way?
Well, these people are registered voters. I mean, they're eligible to vote. Why should they have to do an extra step to try and get their ballot?
Do you think that it would make these people significantly less likely to vote, or would it make it impossible for them to vote if you don't mail them a ballot?
It doesn't make it that impossible, but it isn't fair. I mean, they have to go through one more step to get their ballot.
We asked the Secretary of State's office about this today, asked for his response, and the office's response was that inactive voters who are not mailed a ballot, as you say, will just have to take some extra steps, and then they can get a ballot. And so the fairness issue, they say, is settled by that. Does that not satisfy you?
Again, these people are registered voters. They're eligible to vote. And Denver has sent these ballots out to these inactive, failed-to-vote voters for the last 5 elections that we've conducted.
Mr. Gessler's other argument is that he wants to protect against voter fraud. He's talked a lot about the threat of voter fraud as Colorado's new Secretary of State. In your experience, and from what you know about voting in Colorado, do voters who have been called inactive but who get a ballot and vote again, are they more likely to be fraudulent in their voting?
We have found that, there isn't, I haven't found any fraudulent in the years that I've worked in elections, but also, too, the fraudulent comes in the event that the ballot is returned from someone that shouldn't have voted on that ballot. And there's several safeguards in which they have in place so that we can make sure that the signatures are verified and that they are the person that is supposed to vote.
Is there any correlation between those types of processes that you just described and whether or not a person voted in the last election?
No, there's no distinction between, an inactive or an active voter. Those ballots are checked the same for all.
I know that you will be in court for a hearing on Friday. I know you plan to finish mailing out ballots to Denver voters the week after that. If a judge hasn't ruled by when you are mailing out the ballots, will you mail them out, or will this delay the process no matter what?
State statute states that I need to mail them by October 14th, and right now I plan on mailing those unless I'm stopped by the courts to do that. We are ready to go in the event that there is no ruling.
If the court says you can't send the inactive voter ballots or you need to delay it, do you intend to follow the court order, or will you be in a bit of a standoff at that point?
I think we'll, probably obey the court order. It will just, it really will depend on what, actually are the reasonings and what goes into the whole court hearing.
Debra Johnson, Clerk and Recorder of Denver County, Colorado, currently being sued by that state's Secretary of State. I appreciate your time explaining this with us tonight. We're going to keep following your story. I'd love it if you could stay in touch with us, please.
Thank you very much, Rachel.
Absolutely. Thanks. All right. Singer Hank Williams Jr., meet Ed Schultz. Ed Schultz, make mincemeat out of Hank Williams Jr. That is coming up next right after this show. And here, a Rachel Maddow Show correction coming up, along with some very good, very bad lip reading.
You can borrow my CDs. Not one every day. You can try my Kwanzaa CDs. They're not yours, and you don't have to take any of them.
That is coming up right at the end of our show. Our Department of Corrections now with more bad lip reading coming up.